Mzungus have put themselves all over these shrines. But in rebuilding the destroyed shrines, and the most important destroyed shrine to build is yourself. So that the spirit can enter you. But beloveds, when you're weak, the high frequency of like the creation spirit, etc., you can't handle that. You can't say those power words. You have to be so powerful. Your vessel has to be so powerful. And right now it's really been weakened. So if you really want to be tapping into this kind of power, it doesn't just happen like, okay, guys, go look at this book and get these words. Anything that has been written or is out there is not the real thing, beloveds. Even the manuscripts they took to the Vatican and all their, the British museums and the French museums, that's not the real deal. And they know it. But they even needed our lesser magic to create and maintain this world. So if they're using the lowest of our lowest, and we can just tap into the highest of our highest like that, then you should really feel the importance of getting yourself together. That is the absolute most important thing. Getting yourself together. Turning your back on Babylon. Completely turning your back on Babylon. Moving in righteousness and in truth. So that the ancestors, who are highly advanced beings, and the Most High can actually work with you and bestow upon you great gifts, great powers. Because the power to build the pyramids is still among us now. It can still be tapped in to. We are the ones who could move mountains. With a little faith of a mustard seed, we could move mountains. This world, I told you, it's run by wizards and warlocks and witches, etc., etc. And, we're told, even the scriptures will tell you, because there's a lot of truth in the scriptures, just as there is a lot of lies and manipulation, that in the beginning was a word. And the word has power, beloveds. But because we speak this foreign Mzungu tongue, we've disempowered ourselves because we don't know the words of power anymore. We don't even know the words of our gods, our ancestors. I told you guys, it's so important, especially if you're on the African continent and you're serious about your spiritual walk. It is so important to write down the names of your ancestors, at least 12 generations down. And guys are in lockdown, so what else do you have to do? But it is so important. So at least then you're creating, you're actually creating how do you call it? You're creating like a canvas for yourself, because the spiritual world is more real than the physical world. And the greatest disadvantage of this physical world is they have really lured us into giving so much faith to these two eyes and forgetting about the first eye. And then everything in our diet is done to make sure that the first eye never opens. But those are stories for other days. The power in Africa lies not only in certain words, beloveds, but also in our melanin. I didn't even know that certain instruments of power, like the Ankh, for example, cannot be activated by anyone who is not a melanated being. So we have to know that our ancestors were extremely advanced, more advanced than, the nefarious entities using the Mzungu vessel to kind of manipulate and control humanity right now. They were way more advanced, way more sophisticated than that. And if they had the knowledge to build the pyramids, they would have. What Babylon is using right now is lesser magic, beloveds. I've told you, a much lesser magic. The one they can tap into that is more like, using humans and blood sacrifice. So using the life force of others to achieve your agenda, because you do not know how to generate that life force yourself. You just don't have the power because you're not a creator. You see, us as melanated beings, we have the power to generate enough power that will create something. We have extremely powerful beings walking the planet right now, beloveds. They're not hidden, really, but they're just getting their things together. They're getting their lives together. But such beings, beloveds, have the power to call on the power of water, the power of fire, the power of air, the power of stones, to cause mayhem and destruction. And that is a higher magic, beloveds. We have access to a higher magic, a higher power. And part of it is in the words, beloveds. But part of it is raising our vibration to a certain level so that we can even be noticed by the spirits that bestow this power. I don't want to lose people, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. But the reason we're not seeing a lot of, signs and wonders is because the people with the real power have not yet been given the authority to move into action, because they are there. And I told you, enough of us have made it. But there does need to be a cleansing. There does need to be a clearing. And that's kind of what we're witnessing right now. Because those of weak mind and weak spirit should not be part of the rebuilding. I mean, the ancestors have said it, it's not even about anyone saying anything. Because if you're weak in mind and you're weak in spirit, you will continuously sell out your people. You don't even have the strength to, and nothing can be shared with you. But our power, beloveds, what is being used, yes, this is our power. What is being used against us now? Perception magic. All this manipulation of basically the 7, universal principles and many others, which are being inverted and manipulated to mash us up. This is all lesser magic. The people using this lesser magic don't have the power to create anything. They can only destroy. And if we were to realize the jealousy and envy that the entity that is controlling the Mzungu actually has against us, we take this whole situation a bit more seriously. There's a lot to be said about, if you go to the evangelical churches, they talk about speaking in tongues, and if you speak in tongues, you get in touch with, the Most High. I really don't know what the Spirit, the Holy Spirit touches you and you start speaking in a foreign tongue, etc., etc. There's something to that, beloveds. There are certain, if you raise your vibration high enough, there are certain power words that the Most High and your ancestors and your guardian angels can drop into your spirit, and you can say it and things happen. But the focus right now should not be on seeking this power, but on preparing ourselves. And I've talked about this over and over again, how we prepare ourselves. It's so important, beloveds. Know that power is there. Know that as a child of the Creator or the creative force, as part of that creative force, you have the powers to create many, many things here on earth. But you have to be vibrating much, much higher and see yourself above what is happening here. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
So, what Dr. Mumbi is basically saying is vibrational words that have certain vibrational tones to them that can be answered by the cosmos, That is why you do not have to compromise your languages, your local languages. For instance, let's take the word Yahweh. Yahweh is the God of thunder and lightning in a Bible that has been corrupted to be Yahweh. So when you are not pronouncing it the right way, it will not answer to your prayer. The name of the God of thunder and lightning in the Old Testament is not Yahweh, it's Yahweh. Just as they will say Ever is Ewe. Same people who say Ever or cannot pronounce Ever and they pronounce it Ewe are the same people who could not pronounce Yahweh, which is the God of thunder and lightning in the Bible, and call it Yahweh. Yahweh will not listen to you because the vibrational tone in Yahweh is not the same vibrational tone in Yahweh. End of story. End of story. Wake up, Africa! Wake up! Wake up, Africa!
Welcome back, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. Special shout out to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for supporting us and enabling us to continue to bring you all the, spiritual awakening information that our people need at this time. As we said before, we've moved away from the news because that matrix is over, beloveds. The news does not matter anymore. We're moving into a new world global system that they want to create, but we're also reaching a crossroads where there are those who will move it, by ignorance or by, laziness or just by sheer bad luck. Will be moving into what Babylon is creating for them, but there are also the chosen ones, the ancient ones, the anointed one, whatever you want to call them, the avatars, the Christed ones who have mastered, earth, air, wind, and fire. They walk among us. And the thing is, a lot of our power, a lot of our ancestral power can only be done by certain DNA and certain lineage. And that DNA and lineage in many of us it's coming online, it's being activated, it's being upgraded to the point where we are being made creators on this earth. And the focus for us should not be to how do I get that power, etc., etc. But the focus should be how do I raise my vessel where I can hold and contain that power. Because the powers of creation, beloveds, demand a higher mind than the powers of manipulation or destruction. And the way the Babylon, dragon or the Babylon devil, the Babylon Satan, whatever you want to call him, the way that he is able to perpetuate himself is by using the life force of others through blood sacrifice. That's why the Bible focuses so much on God sacrificing his only son. And so many of our leaders for generations, beloveds, have had to sacrifice their sons and daughters for power. It's such a low-level magic. The real power lies in forgotten tongues. So much was done to make sure that people didn't speak their ancient tongues, but instead spoke this Babylon language. So much was done to even take our languages like Gikuyu and actually write it with the Mzungu words, which are also a spell, diluting our language, beloveds. Diluting our language, beloveds. And many of our African tongues are like higher level. And you'll see, like in the Gikuyu language, we don't have words for rape. We don't have words for murder. There's certain negative, words that are in English that just don't exist. And that should be an indicator. So the power is in the tongue, beloveds. And you your mind so that you're so clear. Because even though we may not have, they may have erased our languages, etc., etc., it's still in our DNA. It's still right here. And if you elevate yourself to the highest thinking mind where you're beyond the pandemic, you're beyond the political situation, you do not entertain any kind of distraction through the movies, etc., etc., you're really out of the Babylon system as much as possible, then your ancestors and the Most High, through the movies, etc., etc., you're really out of the Babylon system as much as possible, then your ancestors and the Most High can actually entrust you with some key words that will do some amazing things.
At this point, folks, you heard it. The powers of our languages, or the power of our languages, it's very important to keep your mother tongue. Pronounce the words well, because these languages, or these words that we have in our languages, are very tonal, are toned to certain vibrational frequency. Very important. Very important. They are toned or tuned. They are tuned to certain vibrational frequencies. So do not compromise on your language and your pronunciations. Do not compromise. If the white man calls your name a certain way, do not accept that. Do not call yourself Ewe when you are ever. It's two different things. The frequency at which ever generates is totally different from the frequency that Ewe generates. Two different things. Two different things. Do not call yourself Ewe, and do not call your God Yahweh. Is Yahweh. Do not be fooled. Vibrational frequency in words is very important. Very, very important.